Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Kandi Burruss sent letter of support to judge for longtime friend Todd Chrisley before pardon. Kandi Burruss is opening up about her close friendship with Todd Chrisley. I always enjoyed talking to you. We always had a great friendship, even when you were going through what you were going through. Burruss, 49, shared on the Wednesday, August 13, episode of the Chrisley Confessions podcast. We were constantly communicating, and I even sent a letter for you. Chrisley, 56, replied to the judge, "That's right." The former Real Housewives of Atlanta star said she met Chrisley in 2014 at a work event. Ever since then, the pair remained in touch and were constantly communicating during his legal battle. "People don't understand that we actually have a friendship," Burruss explained. "My thing is people always try to make it about race, or they make it about political affiliation or whatever. We don't have to have the same political affiliation. We don't have to be the same race. If I'm your friend, I'm your friend. It doesn't matter. I'm supposed to have your back." In May, Todd and his wife, Julie Chrisley, were pardoned by President Donald Trump in their bank fraud and tax evasion case. The Chrisley Knows Best stars were first indicted in 2019 on charges of tax evasion, bank and wire fraud, and conspiracy. In January 2023, the couple reported to prison to serve a combined 19-year sentence after being found guilty. The pair have maintained their innocence, with Todd telling reporters in May that, "Even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do." During the podcast, Burruss seemingly acknowledged that she didn't know all the details about the Chrisleys' case. Instead, she simply wanted to be a supportive friend. "I don't necessarily need to know the details of whatever was going on," she explained. "At the end of the day, I want what's best for you. When you came home, I was excited, and I definitely put in the comments, 'Yay! Congratulations,' because I'm excited, and I'm not going to let anyone make me feel bad for that." While Todd expressed gratitude to his longtime friend, he didn't appreciate the critics who questioned why Burruss was being vocal about her views. "I felt bad because I love you so much, and I said to Julie, my heart breaks for her because I never want my friends to be in a position to defend me," Todd said. "I don't want to bring that burden into the friendship. I want to bring joy into your life." The quiet hum of an Atlanta afternoon was broken when a thick envelope slid across a polished mahogany desk in a Georgia law office. Inside was a letter, not typed by a paralegal, not dictated in sterile legal language, but written in Kandi Burruss's own hand. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star had never been one to mince words, but this time, every sentence was carefully measured, every phrase deliberate. She was writing to a federal judge on behalf of a friend she believed was more than just the headlines about him, Todd Chrisley. The news of Todd's conviction for bank fraud and tax evasion had been a storm that swept across reality TV fandom like wildfire. People chose sides instantly, some branding him as a con artist, others seeing him as a victim of a system eager to make an example of a celebrity. Kandi, however, saw something entirely different. The Todd she had laughed with, confided in, and leaned on for advice over years of late-night calls and green room conversations. In her letter, she began not with legal arguments, but with a memory. "Dear Judge," she wrote in looping script, "before you decide the fate of my friend, I'd like to tell you about the Todd I know, the Todd who once showed up at my door with groceries when I couldn't leave the house, the Todd who sent flowers to my mother when she was ill, the Todd who made sure every member of his crew felt like family." The letter painted Todd in vivid colors that no courtroom transcript could capture. Kandi described his deep loyalty to his children, his fierce protectiveness over Julie, and his behind-the-scenes generosity that never made it to the cameras. She wrote about their shared experiences navigating the cutthroat world of reality television, where public perception could turn on a single edit. What Kandi knew, and hoped the judge would understand, was that Todd's persona on Chrisley Knows Best was just that, a persona. The sharp one-liners, the dramatic flair, the flamboyant bravado. That was Todd the entertainer. Off camera, He was quieter, more reflective, she didn't pretend to excuse the charges. I am not here to dispute the verdict, she continued. I am here to share that Todd Chrisley is more than the sum of his mistakes. He is a father who calls his children every day. He is a friend who remembers your favorite cake flavor and shows up on your birthday without fail. And he is a man who, even in hard times, has tried to lift others up. Kandi knew that character references could be powerful in sentencing, but only if they rang true. She didn't sugarcoat the reality of what Todd was facing, nor did she deny that consequences were necessary. Her request was simple but heartfelt, that the judge consider his lifelong pattern of kindness and his ability to contribute positively to society if given the chance for redemption. Behind the scenes, sending the letter had not been a decision Kandi made lightly. The RHOA star was well aware that public opinion could turn brutal in an instant. Supporting Todd so publicly could spark backlash from viewers who saw his crimes as inexcusable. But Kandi had built her career, and her life, on authenticity. If she believed in someone, she didn't hide it. It wasn't just a letter. It was a statement of loyalty. Todd's legal team, upon receiving Kandi's note, was quietly grateful. Character letters often came from family members or longtime business associates, but a respected public figure like Kandi could add weight to their plea. Her reputation for being pragmatic and level-headed in the reality TV world lent credibility to her words. Months later, when whispers of a possible presidential pardon began circulating, that letter resurfaced in conversations among Todd's supporters. By then, he had been serving his sentence for over a year, enduring the monotony of prison life, holding on to daily calls with his children like lifelines. Kandi had visited once, making the long trip with a bag full of books and a stubborn determination to remind him that he still had friends who believed in his better days. In interviews, Kandi never went into great detail about the letter. She spoke instead about the importance of not abandoning people at their lowest points. It's easy to celebrate with someone when they're winning, she said during a radio appearance. The real test of friendship is whether you'll stand with them when the world walks away. When the news finally broke that Todd Chrisley had been granted a pardon, the reaction online was swift and divided. Some celebrated the decision, framing it as a second chance for a man who could turn his life around. Others saw it as an example of privilege at work. Todd, for his part, issued a statement thanking his family, his fans, and those who had written letters on his behalf. He didn't name Kandi directly, but those close to him knew she had been one of the first to step up. Privately, he called her from a quiet room at home, his voice thick with emotion. You didn't have to put yourself out there for me, he said. Todd, she replied, friendship isn't about what's convenient. It's about what's real. The pardon didn't erase the years of legal battles, the time served, or the damage done to his public image. But it did give Todd something he hadn't had in a long time, the chance to rewrite the next chapter of his life. Kandi hoped he'd take it seriously, not just for himself, but for everyone who had gone out on a limb to vouch for him. That letter, written in a quiet moment in her Atlanta home, had been more than ink on paper. It had been a lifeline thrown across a stormy sea, a reminder that even when the cameras stopped rolling and the headlines turned harsh, some bonds couldn't be edited out. In the years to come, Kandi would continue to navigate her own busy world of music, television, and business. But every so often, she'd glance at a framed note on her office shelf, a simple thank you card Todd had sent after his release, and remember the day she decided to put pen to paper for a friend. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about politics. It was about one truth she'd learned early on. In the unpredictable theater of life, loyalty was the rarest currency of all.